Hello and welcome to a new video. Today we're gonna take a look again at 3 different teams around Talonflame. Last time we did this basically with Tropius, trying to find the best team for Tropius, and as a lot of people like those kind of ideas, we're gonna try to do the same today. We're going to have 3 different teams here. First off, you're going to see already, going to be a team with 2 legendary Pokemon in the back here. Giratina is our Say-Swap as well as Cresselia in the back, trying to get basically out a potential Registeel with a Say-Swap of Giratina, while then we're going to have of course the best answer for Registeel in the lead still with the Talonflame, and the Cresselia can sweep endgame. That's at least the idea behind it, but there were some issues with this which I also encountered quite a lot. For example, Tapu Fini lead, kinda awkward to play. Honestly, it's not the worst for the Giratina, but definitely not the best one either, and there were a lot of other options as well where I was like not so happy with the team. But in general, I have to say Talonflame is back. Talonflame is definitely one of the coolest and right now strongest Pokemon for the Ultra League, and I can highly recommend you to try this one out, because at least it seems like this Pokemon has a lot of potential and definitely looks like a good Pokemon to use. So definitely, if you have one available, definitely try it out again. And there are going to be, of course, different teams coming around this as well. We're going to have a little bit less battles than last time with Tropius, mainly because Ultra League battles just take a long time, and I didn't want to make like a 30-minute video about this stuff. But maybe in the future, when there's a league where I have a little bit more fun, I might even do this. But here we're going to actually have a great matchup in the beginning, where we're going to have now the Cresselia going up against the Tapu Fini in the back. That's exactly the matchup that we kind of want to see, as I know that I'm going to be able to swipe any kind of charge move here. So we're going to go for a Grass Knot, and we of course have to finish up this opponent here with our Talonflame swapping into this one, and we can of course still get to the Brave Bird, and this is going to be a very good game, I would say, as this Brave Bird easily going to knock them out. So Talonflame, definitely still not as strong really as Charizard, but honestly they fill kind of different kind of roles. So like I wouldn't really want to compare them with each other. While they have the same typing and basically similar coverage, Charizard does mainly damage around like Blast Burn, not so much fast move pressure, while here for example you do way more damage with like your Incinerate, being able to boost them up with Flame Charge and then still have a nuke in the back with the Brave Bird. It's just very cool. So definitely they have kind of some different playstyles in my opinion, as you're going to be able to get rid of a Tapu Fini here, which is going to be very nice for us. We're going to get out the Weezing, which is usually a decent matchup for our Talonflame again, as you're going to have neutral hitting moves as the opponent is basically forced to go for a brutal swing against us. But first we can still go for a Moonblast here, do some small amount of damage, not gonna lie, not too much, but I can still go for another one, as it's going to be a CMP tie. They're going to be able to knock me out, and we can go back into our Talonflame, which is going to be able to take those moves fairly easily. We can go for the Flame Charge. Flame Charge should be able to do some decent damage, but they're going to catch it on the opponent's Giratina here. Great play by them, forcing us to swap out right now, which is going to be a little bit awkward as the opponent is now going to be ahead of energy. So we have a little bit better health than the opponent, because they of course had to take the Flame Charge from us, but it's still going to be a tough one here, as they're gonna go ahead and shield up the move from the opponent. They are gonna go for the Dragon Claw, as I can go for my own Dragon Claw. Let's see what they're going to try to do, and we will see the knockout actually, which was a little bit surprising, because now they only have the Weezing left. I should still be able to swipe this one here right now. But now I can swap out into my Talonflame, and they have still 2 shields left, but what do they really want to do with this? I can just go ahead, go for the Flame Charge, get the buff onto my attack. I can even take another charge move from the opponent. Again, Brutal Swing is the highest, like the hardest hitting move with this one, and I can now go for the full knockout with my Talonflame. So far so good, going to the final game with this team, which was for me, honestly, the weakest team of them all. We have an insane weakness against Jellicent. My main idea here actually against those Pokemon where we have a weakness is staying in with my Talonflame, going up to basically a Brave Bird, going even one over here because it's better for the energy. I didn't want to give the opponent a free hex basically. Like this, I can just go for a Brave Bird, get them low, and the biggest threat really for this team is now kinda gone, as they're gonna go for a Shadow Ball and swap out now into another big threat here right now with the opponent's Scrafty. Scrafty going to be able to beat both of my Pokemon in the back, so that's going to be a tough one, but maybe we can still come back from this one, as we will see another Dragon Claw coming through. This Dragon Claw gonna do some decent damage, and this is gonna only do like a little bit of damage, to be fair. Just literally an awkward matchup. I'm fairly certain I still survive this charge move, by the way. But yeah, we survive with 1 HP, can get to another charge move, and like this, we're actually gonna put them kinda into the range for just one what's called Flame Charge, which is going to be nice. So we can just boost our attack up here, knock them out hopefully, and see what they're gonna go back into. And they're gonna go back into the Jellicent, which is a little bit awkward because this is basically my best matchup to knock them out with. And I can still go for the Flame Charge, gonna get the shield, but they're going to have the Nidoqueen in the back. And this is a tough matchup in general for this, like the last two Pokemon there, as I guess Talonflame is kind of neutral against them. But as we are not running Future Sight on our Cresselia, it is not really looking too good right now. We're gonna go for the Grass Knot, gonna get the shield from the opponent, which is, I guess, kinda nice. But we are still going to have to shield up something, but they're gonna go straight for the Earth Power. Great play by them. I can still go for a Grass Knot here, but this is not two-shotting the opponent because they're not running the Shadow variant, which is actually really bad for us right now. Usually, you kinda would like to go up against the Shadow variant here because you just do a little bit more damage. Talonflame goes down, Cresselia goes down. This is going to be it for this game, and this is going to be also it for the team. For me, my least favorite one, because I feel like they're, like, for example, especially the Jellicent is a little bit tricky. Now we're gonna go to my second favorite one here right now, which is going to be the ABB style line with Charizard in the back, as well as the Trevenant in the lead. I actually think this team is really, really decent, and it's very lame. Like, honestly, I didn't really want to use it first, but I didn't really have a better idea of playing, like, the Talonflame. It's an obvious one that you're going to try to pair it with the Charizard as a ABB backline. And yes, this team works out really well. Like, this team definitely works out really well. It's just very predictable and very lame for me, so... But definitely still a team that I can recommend you. And here's the cool thing about the Talonflame compared to the Charizard. We're going to see here the Ice as well as Steel-type Pokemon Sandslash, and this one gets completely melted down by our Talonflame. We're going to swap out immediately, and the opponent is basically getting hard-walled here by the Charizard, as they're going to have the Toxic Crocodile in the lead, which has nowhere to go. And this is also one reason why I like this team so much. Look at this team, and look what a Registeel can do against you. You have two Fire-type Pokemon, as well as a Ghost-type, which is part Grass, which is going to be able to do neutral damage while resisting everything from the opponent, and there's nothing that they can do about it. Then I'll take a look at what Virizion does against this team. Nothing at all as well. So this team basically is able to counter the two biggest meta threats right now fairly easily. Against Registeel you still have a great time, and honestly, I'm fairly certain that this is a very strong team that you can use. I don't even think I had like great matchup luck or anything like this, where I was like able to align my Pokemon all the time against something like a Virizion, which is usually super common, but I actually don't really think I faced it too often with this team. So definitely actually just a very strong team that you can just run like this. And here we're going to have to hope that they're going to be weak against my Talonflame in the back, but I'm fairly certain they're most likely going to be weak to me in the back, because they went into their Giratina against my Charizard, so I don't really expect them to have any kind of water type Pokemon in the back at least. So we're gonna get the knockout here, and it's going to be the Galissapod. But I actually don't really make a crucial mistake, I think. I had to hope that the opponent going to bait me here, because the opponent going to, I think, outspeed me. And as you can see, this did a ton of damage. We're gonna get the defense drop, and like this, there's not a lot that I can do there. I don't know if the defense drop really mattered, but yeah, that was kind of unfortunate. Another weakness for this team is just that there is also a huge weakness to Talonflame. Of course, here we're gonna get kind of hard-walled, which is not really ideal either. I'm gonna be able to at least get the shield here from the opponent, as I can just go ahead and go for a charge move against the opponent with my Blast Burn, but it's not really looking too good for us. We can at least get the damage there onto the opponent and swap into our Trevenant to get some energy lead. But again, the opponent had a perfect lead against me as well, and this is one of the issues with this team as well, which I didn't really like at all. You're very weak against other Talonflames and other Charizards with this team, which is kind of weird because you run the same Pokemon yourself. But here, luckily, we're going to encounter now the opponent's Registeel in the back, where we can go for the Flame Charge. This Flame Charge is going to get a lot of damage onto them, and I can just shield up the next charge move from the opponent, which is luckily just the Zap Cannon, which does not get the debuff here, which is really nice for us. We can go for another Flame Charge, and I don't really expect a shield right now, but they decide to shield for whatever reason. I guess they want to get rid of my last shield, but I still going to have a buff of +1 because they're definitely going to get the debuff here. Never mind, they don't. And like this, there is nothing that they can do. They're going to go into the Talonflame. I just wait out the clock a little bit, so it's in the middle of their animation. Brave Bird comes through. Brave Bird going to completely destroy them, and the opponent gets completely destroyed by the Talonflame. But now we're going to move on into the final game final team for today's video, which is honestly my favorite one of them all, which runs Walrein, which is something that you don't really see too often, but honestly, it was so good for me. And here, this was the first game, which you're going to see right now, and you see that I'm giving the opponent some chance here, and you just saw how many fast moves came in there. I had no idea how many fast moves was. I could have just farmed them down, won the game easily with this one, but like, yeah, nobody is waiting for me, but I wait for the opponents here just so they have a little bit of a chance. They can now hard counter me, of course, not the best play to just go for the blind Icicle Spear, but again, it is what it is, and maybe I make a mistake here. I definitely do make a mistake. I don't know why I went to my Talonflame here. I could have just aligned my Tapu Fini against them, and this does not make any sense at all, so that was definitely a really bad play by me, and it does not make any sense at all. But yeah, okay, I don't know why I did that. Like, I don't know why I did this, I don't know how I did this. That didn't make any sense at all. Don't do it at home. Definitely a mistake by me, but again, if I would have just waited out the luck and tried to basically farm down against the Giratina when they had some lag, I would have been better off. They got all the fast moves back in there, and like this, we sadly don't really have a chance of winning this game. So we're gonna forfeit this one. Could have won this game if I just took advantage of the lag from the opponent, but I didn't really want to do this. Next game coming up, we're going to have here the opponent's Gliscor against me. Our backline is really good against it, so what I'm gonna do here is I'm going to try to get a shield advantage if I can, because I can swap out afterwards, and I will be able to do this, and now have a decent advantage in both energy as well as shield. So, in comes Walrein against the Cresselia. We can go for the Icicle Spear, and it actually does some pretty decent damage against the opponent, as we can go for another one. This will put them maybe even into range where I can just go for another Icicle Spear with a little bit more fast move pressure and knock them out then, but it's just barely not really in range for that, I feel like, so I'm actually going to go ahead and shield this move up, which does not make sense in hindsight as well. Definitely a misplay, because this Icicle Spear should not be enough to knock them out right now. So not really sure if this was the right call, but I'm going to be able to catch the move now onto my Talonflame, which was definitely a right call, as this Grass Knot does no damage. They swap out into the Tapu Fini, allowing me to go for a Brave Bird, and this is basically perfect alignment for me, as I can go for the Brave Bird, do a ton of damage, farm them down with my own Tapu Fini, and have energy for both the Gliscor as well as the opponent's other Pokemon Cresselia. So here I'm going to shield up the Surf, which is of course not ideal. I can go for another Surf actually here to just knock them out, because I'm fairly certain this is going to be fine for us. We're going to get the full farm down against them, and they're going to decide to forfeit here. So at least at the end of the day, that worked out really well for us. Next opponent, Jellicent in the lead, and I'm going to do the same. I would just stay in here, because you can take a Surf, and you can go for a Brave Bird, and Brave Bird does more damage than the Surf, but also, the opponent didn't throw here, and like this, in the 4 turn, they are like 4 Incinerates in, you're going to be able to outspeed them. Turns out the opponent going to have the Obstagoon in the back, which of course going to be very tough for us to beat, as we are going to have our Walrein here, which is very weak to this Pokemon, at least I thought, but then I saw the damage of Icicle Spear and was like, maybe there's a chance of me realigning my Pokemon, and then I don't have to actually encounter the Jellicent against my Fire-type Pokemon, which might work out really well for me. And this is exactly what we did, as we're going to see that the opponent going to swap out into their final Pokemon, which is going to be the Scrafty. And I will get some damage onto them, and I can go ahead and go into my Talonflame, as they're most likely going to try to catch a move, but it didn't work out for them. They actually went for their charge move, as they can go for the Flame Charge, getting the shield from the opponent. They still have a shield left, but I is still going to have my Tapu Fini left in the back, as they're going to swap out eventually here into their Jellicent. I can shield this move up, and I can swap out now into my Tapu Fini in order to try to get a full farm down here, maybe even go for the Surf just to get the knockout, because actually I think going for the Surf here is the better play, so I don't get too low with my Tapu Fini as I resist every move from the opponent, and I just have to get to one more Surf. But as I'm going to use a shield here, this game is over anyway, as I can farm them all the way down, I still have a Brave Bird stored, but I can even take this move for sure, be able to go for the Moonblast, and this team works out super well here as well. So, final game for today. Hope you enjoyed this video. If you did, feel free to leave a like, but here we're gonna see now the Steelix coming in, which is great for our team as well. We're going to have a great lead against it, as well as our backline is kinda decent to handle this Pokemon. We can let the move go through from the opponent, and they're going to decide to swap into the Nidoqueen. I either should have went for the Brave Bird, or I shouldn't have thrown at all. This was just, I don't know, panicking, but I can go into my Walrein right now and I can just go for the Icicle Spear, but not before the opponent gets to another charge move themselves, going to be the Earth Power, but I can overfarm by quite a bit, go for an Icicle Spear, and that's going to knock them out for sure, and I can realign then, which is going to be nice, because then I can align the Steelix against the Tapu Fini, which is going to be even better matchup for me, but then I see that they're going to have another Jellicent in the back, which is kinda common recently, and I have to go for an Earthquake. This is going to be a little bit awkward, but they are going to use a shield here, and they still have to throw against me, which is going to be fine, as now we can go ahead, let this move go through, go into my Talonflame, as I will shield this next move up. This is going to be a Surf. I can go for a Brave Bird here. Hopefully they're going to let this move go through. This would be amazing for me. Let's see. They're going to do exactly that. And like this, it's now Tapu Fini range for me, and Tapu Fini should be fine just clearing up this game. I'm actually going to use a shield here and swap out immediately, as I can still keep the charge move alive there, as I can easily take a charge move here, and I just have to basically get to 2 Surfs against these Steelix, and I should be fine. But actually, maybe 1 is already enough. As we will see right now, the Surf gonna get shielded, and they're definitely a range for a Flame Charge, but I can even get to another Surf, allowing me to farm them down afterwards, and this is going to be it for that one, as now they can maybe go for an Earthquake and knock me out. Let's see if it's going to be enough. It is enough, and I can just go for one more fast move, Brave Bird it is, and we will win this final game of today's video. My favorite team is this one, Walrein in the back, as well as the Tapu Fini. Hope you enjoyed this. If you did, feel free to leave a like, check out the video on the screen, and I'll see you then. Bye bye.